Okay, so the movie we watched this week is Jane B par Agnes V. It's from 1988, and it stars the titular Jane Birkin and is directed by the also titular Agnes Varda. It's a documentary, 7.2 out of 10 on the IMDb. I feel weird about this. This is going to be an odd one to talk about. So when selecting this movie, I looked at the poster for it, and I got vibes of Midsummer or The Wicker Man from the poster. You know, there's a woman in a flower crown laying down, and I'm like, okay, this will be something druidy, something naturey, something witchy. I did not anticipate a documentary about a woman turning 40, but that's what I got, and that's what I watched. Agnes and Jane meet in a cafe and they start the conversation. Ultimately, that's what this film is. It's a series of conversations intercut with some short scripted bits. Agnes starts off asking Jane, hey, do you like being filmed? She asks her, how come I never see you look into the camera? Jane says she doesn't like looking into the camera. It feels too personal. It feels like you're looking at someone. Agnes is like, oh no, it's more like looking into a mirror. But Jane makes the point, there's always somebody behind the camera. So, it is like looking at someone. And also, it's even more than that, I think, personally, because when you look into the camera, you are not only making eye contact with the person behind the camera, effectively, but with everybody who looks at the images that the camera captures. If you're in a movie, everybody looking at the screen is going to lock eyes with you. If you're in a picture, you're congrats, you're one of those pictures where the eyes follow you around the room. I get it. I get how that could be a thing. She talks about her childhood, growing up in England, going to a boarding school. The fact that she's from England, I was like, wait a minute, this whole thing is in French. I thought she was French. She immigrated. She did most of her work in France. But yeah, no, French is her second language. Apparently the French love her accent, her British accent, which carries over in French apparently. She talks about her time at boarding school being kind of miserable because the other kids were terrible to her. She complained about being not developing, we'll say, and that I picked up a few times in this some definitely getting some queer vibes off of this woman. She talks about how when she was in boarding school, she only survived because of a bit of an obsession she had with an older student who did not have, and it's an all-girls school, so clearly this was another gal. She said the other gal didn't probably know that she was alive. And later on in the film, she talks about how she loves big old titties. She loves the big bahonkaroos. I'm picking up what she's laying down. We can smell our own, and I think we have something here. Although this might be thrown off a little bit, I think she's probably bi, because she mentions she's only really dated men from what I can see. She mentions that her first film role, she got a job in a film primarily because she was married to the man who wrote the score for the film. She just mentions that's how she refers to him, the man who wrote the score for the first film she was in. Doesn't even give a name. I looked it up after the fact. It's John Barry. He's the guy who did the James Bond theme. He's done a lot of film work. He won a BAFTA. They were married for all of 3 years. She was 18. He was much older. And I'm like, okay, that's a little gross. All right. I guess that will be a trend from what I've seen here. Apparently, it was a very loveless marriage, and it only lasted 3 years. In that first film that she did, though, she said that she did a nude scene, and says that the English never forgave her for that, calling her Blow Up Birkin, apparently as some sort of sexual innuendo. The French love that shit, though. God, at one point later on the film, she dumps out all of her, like, the contents of her purse on the ground in view of, like, the Eiffel Tower, so you know this is happening in France still. Very picturesque scene. She just dumps her stuff out. There's all sorts of stuff in there. The director asks her, the director tells her basically that all of the things she has are also part of her story. They tell things about you. So let's see what you've got. So she dumps the bag out. It's full of books. It's full of pens. There's some dental floss. She's got a multi-tool in there. She has a roll of tape. Who just has tape?
Does anybody have any tape out there? I want to put some tape over the death button.
I don't know. She's prepared. And then she asks if we learned anything from seeing the contents of the purse. And she just sitting there on the steps, she says, even when you show everything, you reveal very little, which is a powerful statement about reclaiming your identity when, like, there's pictures of you nude out there. She's saying, yes, you've seen me without clothes, but you haven't seen the real me. You haven't seen me. That's not me. That's just, like, pictures. You don't know what's in my heart. And that's good. But that also, in addition to that film, it also applies very much to the photography she did with her next man, Serge Gainsbourg. He was a musician and an actor. Another musician who was related to the film industry, I guess. He was, I guess, considered the most influential man in French pop in his day. I thought maybe that made him kind of like the French David Bowie or something. Not nearly as handsome as Bowie, I will just say that. A personal opinion. Maybe you disagree. Maybe your mileage will vary. I don't know. And he did a song. So he's got a lot of big songs under his belt, but there's one that you might even know. He did a song, at one point he recorded it with Jane, in fact. That's not the version that made it onto the album, but he did a song called Bonnie and Clyde. Made it into the film Rush Hour 3. I can't believe it. This is the second week in a row I'm talking about Rush Hour 3, but this song is in Rush Hour 3. It's in the scene where they have to rescue Genevieve from the nightclub when the people are going to shoot her to death. Good song. It's catchy. Heck, they even got Serge into the film for a bit, so I guess they must still be on good terms, or at least speaking, because he's in the movie. And, I guess, because at that point they'd been split up for, like, at least a decade. But yeah, no, he did a lot of photos with her, and a lot of them were very racy. She even describes one where it was her handcuffed to a radiator in just nylons. So, they do show a lot of the racier ones. For reasons, I will not be showing the racier ones. You'll have to watch the movie yourself. Yeah, but they got Serge in for a scripted bit where he's coaching her musically on a song that they did together, and he is just super micromanaging her, and, like, I have to wonder if this is, like, representative of their relationship, and if so, I'm glad he's got a sense of humor about it. But yeah, we will get into the scripted bits later. We go on a tour of her house. She gets home and she's like, oh, as soon as I get in, I change into clothes that are a little bit more me. And I'm like, I can so relate to this woman now. Oh my god. Because as soon as I get home from work, it's just straight into pajamas. If I'm not going out anywhere, pajamas. I get it. It's all about comfort. Her house is nice. It's not ostentatious like you'd expect from a movie star. She's got nice wallpaper. It's black with a little gold trim going on. I dig it. It looks great. There's some clutter going on. I think she might be a little bit of a proto-hoarder. It's hard to say what's going on there. A lot of stuff on the walls. She mentions her favorite room in the house is the kitchen, because she can spend time with her kids at the table while she does things in the kitchen. That presents a little wholesome picture of her. This is just time with her family. Who doesn't like that? Well, I mean, some people don't, but obviously she does, and it's nice. It's a nice thing that you see. You don't like expect well, not a Hollywood star, but a big movie star, because she was big at the time, to be like, oh, I like to just hang out around the house in my pajamas and spend time with the kids. You expect a life of glamour and whatnot, and she's just like, yeah, no, I'm wearing a t-shirt and I will cut onions and hang out with the kids, It's good times. Throughout the film, there's a running thing where in between sections of interview with her, they will cut to scripted bits. I have found out after the fact that the scripted bits are like just roles that they felt would be fun for her to have done. But I honestly do think that you can read into these and see them as like kind of analogies for her. Like there's one where she's playing an art dealer and she's dating an artist, and that is very much like her life, because all three of her partners had been creative types. Her third one was an actual like a movie director, so just creatives the whole way down. Yeah, the artist in it has like lost $8,000 hidden in a book somewhere, or 8,000 francs rather, and they're looking through the art books that he's got for it. They was like hidden in a Salvador Dali art book, and so they're like, oh, we found the money, and they start making out, and then she shoots him, foreshadowed by her saying, when you're dead, your art's going to be worth more. There's another one where she's being a muse for artists, and she's talking about how they die but she remains. She's like at a grave, and she's like saying, I could pound on this thing to break it open and scold him for dying young, and I'm still here. Clearly also like the idea of these creative types just getting her and using her as inspiration. Clearly, like, I'm gonna go back to it. John Barry meets this 18-year-old girl and is like, I'm gonna marry her. And then they do. And I'm like, okay, so he saw something there that was like very much like a spark, and then it didn't pan out into a relationship, because you don't learn somebody like that. You see what they look like, and that's what that's based off of. But like, he clearly thought he had something going on there. I don't know. But yeah, just inspiration. There's another one where there's like, they're playing a couple that's having a picnic, and they're arguing about the dreams that she has, where she's like, oh, I have dreams about you, and he's like mad. He's mad about the dreams that she has with him, because they don't have the real him. They just have him as she imagines him. And he's mad that the real him isn't present in her dreams. And she's like, well, do you ever dream of me? And like, that's how it ends. And it's like, it's these career men that she's been with. Do they have consideration for her? And there's one point in the film where they talk about fairy tales, and she's saying, when you act in a fairy tale, it should be fake, but it's not. It's real. Because, like, it's close to the world, and I'm like, they're talking about the scripted bits. Maybe they don't actually know that they're talking the scripted bits, but this feels like the scripted bits to me. About 30 minutes towards the end of the film, they feign running out of ideas. They're just, Agnes and Jane sitting on a bench, talking about how, we're all out of stuff. I thought we would just, walk around a little bit, maybe meander. The film can meander for a little bit, and it's kind of like we have to figure out how to walk out of a maze, like the labyrinth. And they liken Jane to Ariadne giving Theseus the twine to escape from the labyrinth with. They describe the camera as the minotaur that's after her. I dig it. It's, a fun visual to go along with it too, of like a labyrinth made of glass and a camera just sort of going around. And then at the end, they wish her a happy birthday. She's gone home to visit her parents, and she's brought her kids with her, and she explains, it's the years that end with 0 that hurt a little bit. 39 was fun, 41 probably will be too. And it is very much a thing of our culture where we like big round numbers. They're more significant. Even though 41 is bigger than 40, 40 is more significant. And it's completely arbitrary. So, like, the passage of time is what it is. Now, I will mention that when I was selecting this film, I was taken in by the poster. The poster looked like something that was going to be, as I mentioned, kind of witchy, kind of Wicker Man-y, midsummery, look at this thing. But no, what I got was this, and I think if I'd known ahead of time, I might not have picked this movie, because this came to me from Isabella Rossellini's Adventures in Moviegoing, which has a lot of other things on it that are very good. Like, I passed up 2 Charlie Chaplin films and a Scorsese for this. And while I think if I had known ahead of time that this was a documentary about an aging Parisian cinema figure, I might not have gone with it. But I think ultimately, I don't mind that I watched this. I don't know that I can necessarily recommend it. It has a very special sort of appeal. Number one, it's all subtitled. And number two, it's not something that's like plot driven. It's not a narrative. You have to be in a specific mood for this sort of thing, I think. So if you have an interest in this woman, give it a watch. I don't regret having watched it. Obviously, anything else on this list, I can go back and watch The Thief of Baghdad any old time I want. I wouldn't have watched this otherwise. And I do feel like I've gotten a little something out of it, I learned things about this woman. I learned things about, the men she was involved with. I was entertained. I saw her throw a cream pie at somebody's face at one point. Good times. But yeah, so that's what we watched this week. What are we going to watch next week? Go! Alright, there, off into the horse plinko. Everybody's favorite horse-related meme that is safe for work. And Last Hurrah for Chivalry is out in front. And it's going to hit an obstacle and get stuck. Scanners also stuck. Scanners is fun. The Innocent. Okay, making it through, followed by Scanners a little ways back. Then Cecil B. Demented, My Dinner with Andre, the cameraman. Here's a nice little diner. Hello. That guy's looking at us. Tona, am I crazy or am I getting Dot's Diner vibes from this place? Vampires. Well, it was neck and neck with the Innocent, and then it got thrown away. Okay, down into the tube. And then there's stairs. Teorema coming up. Vampire is still trying to catch up. The steps. Balls rolling down steps. This is not... What are you? Just a little... Oh, okay. Okay. This is a torture chamber. Okay. Not what I had anticipated. And then they get rolled out like that. And off they go, Teorema and the Innocent. The Innocent back out front again. The Innocent really wants to be out front. Followed by Vampire, Night Moves, Dead Calm, and then everything else getting bunched up over there. We got some curves. A little smoky section here. What goes on with the smoky section? Let's find out. Oh, okay. The smoky section bonks them back into these funnels. And then down there. If they go to that funnel, then they have to go through this thing, but these guys got lucky. Vampire's getting on there. We have a little... Oh god, the Innocent made it through the wheel right away, and the Innocent getting a commanding lead from the get-go and just maintaining it. My god. Okay, so we have the Innocent, Teorema, Vampire, Night Moves, Dead Calm, Repo Man, Fear City, everything else stuck in the wheel. Here comes Three Women, My Dinner with Andre, and the Cameraman, rounding out our top 10. Okay, still on the track. How are things all the way up there still? What the heck? There's Bazine Meadow, it's Soviet Propaganda, The Velvet Vampire, Brazil, Kiss of the Spider-Woman. Ironically, Brazil, not a Brazilian film, Kiss of the Spider-Woman, Brazilian film. The Fabulous Baron Munchausen, Scanners, which is a David Cronenberg film. They're doing a spotlight on him, actually. The Doom Generation, Seven Samurai, Phantom of the Monastery, Sweet Smell of Success, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. Oh, the Linguini incident has died. It got stuck somewhere. And so did After Hours. Okay, well, that's official. Our winner is The Innocent. Final results, there we are. Yeah, just under 2 minutes for The Innocent, and just over 2 minutes for Teorema. Let me pull up my movie list and see what's going on with that. The Innocent is... Here it is. Oh gosh, okay. The Innocent from 2022. 3 years ago. Made it onto the list because it is one of the Janus contemporaries. Criterion has a secondary film label attached to it called Janus Films, and they have a collection that they do that are more modern films, and this is one of them. It was directed by Louis Garrel. Okay? It's a crime comedy. It's got a 6.7 out of 10 on IMDb, and it is 100 minutes long, which is still within my range for an acceptable length movie.